Alright, peace family, it's the man Just Be Real coming to you live. And I'm back with another lesson. We're going to be talking about the origin of the white man, where he comes from. I've spoken on this before, but I'm going to speak up on it again. Alright? I might have to make two parts of this. Alright? So we're going to be coming from this book right here entitled The ISIS Papers, The Keys to the Colors by Dr. Frances Cress Wellings. She has passed on now. She has ascended. Alright? I read this book in its entirety. Okay? We're going to be coming from this book right here, The ISIS Papers, The Keys to Colors. We're going to be coming from this book right here a little bit, briefly, Black Root Science. This has become my favorite book about where we come from. We're going to be coming from National Geographics and this site right here. So I got some reading to do, so let's go. Alright. So, this is on page 119, and this is the motherfucker and the original motherfucker. Alright, so let's get into it. Who is this pertaining to? Alright, so let's go. So she says here that I stated in the beginning of this book that whites are undoubtedly a genetic mutant albino population. They are albino mutants from original black human beings, causing the formation of a mankind and a humankind. This statement is given strong support by the work of the anthropologist Louis Leakey, who stated in his book By the Evidence of Memoirs that human life began in Africa and that the first human beings were black. Alright? As reported in National Geographic and National History magazine, see references recently found in Africa was the first known albino gorilla infant, who was the offspring of his cold black gorilla mother and father. So, and it says that this evidence strongly supports the extrapolation that if a higher primate, in this instance a cold black gorilla pair, can produce a platinum blonde, blue-eyed, pink-skinned albino, then certainly this could be the pattern by which blonde, blue-eyed, pink-skinned white men and women also were produced as genetic mutants or albino mutants from the black norm. That the norm for the entire human family is to possess melanin pigment skin supports the extrapolation. The albino mutants that easily could have evolved in Africa either could have been chased northward by their pigment parents and kinsmen, or they could have migrated northward on their own, away from the intensely sunny environment of Africa, where their non-pigment defective skins would not be damaged by the less intense sun rays. Moving directly northward from Africa, one lands in Europe, the now recognized home of the whites. So let me stop right here. And they said there was a gorilla, albino gorilla. How is that possible? Albino gorilla. I'm not making this stuff up. Look it up. Snowflake. This is real. This is a gorilla called Snowflake. The first albino gorilla. How is this possible? How is this possible? One second. Let's keep on going. I'm gonna make a part 2 to this. So you got this gorilla called Snowflake. Okay, here's the footage right here. This is in 1993. This is the real gorilla, albino, pink skin. This is real. What are they not telling you, and what are you not researching on your own, trying to figure out how is all this stuff happening? Who's doing this stuff? Is it black folks? So we just heard from the damn Louis Leakey. He said that the first human beings were black folks in Africa. And then National Geographic come back and say the same damn thing. Let's keep on going. The main point of this perhaps simply discursive discussion is that white-skinned albino persons were most probably the genetic mutant offspring from black parents. In other words, black males and black females were the parents, the original mothers and fathers of the albino or white population. The marriage of albinos with one another subsequently produced what is now known as the white race. If this description of the origin of white is accurate, and this writer strongly believes, then deep within the unconscious psyche of the white collective is an awareness of their origin amongst blacks, that blacks were their parents, and that they whites were the defective offspring of blacks. The white male, the prime organizer of the white supremacy system culture, is thus aware, although perhaps at deep unconscious levels, that his original mother was a black woman, just as his original father was a black man. Therefore, in spite of the overt psychological need to repress this fundamental knowledge of origin, the conscious recognition of which would necessitate a confrontation with the genetic mutant and genetic defective status of skin whiteness, white males have exposed their unconscious awareness by referring to the black woman in this world area as mammy and aunt or auntie, and referring to the black males as pappy and uncle. These terms cannot reflect true simple endearment as they occur in the presence of degradation, enslavement, oppression, and black destruction. Further, white males strongly support black females suckling white babies and also endorse black men and women caring for white children, the extension of the white male himself. Okay, so let's keep on going. And let's go over here. So it says here that thus through the subtle, intricate dynamics and the unconscious wiverings of the white supremacy system culture, the white male has projected his image of himself as motherfucker on the total black collective throughout the world. Indeed, each time one black male even utters the term motherfucker to another black male, there is probably some white male on the planet who is having sexual intercourse with a black or other non-white female, the symbolic representation of the white male's original black mother. Even the white male's pornographic magazines are filled with pictures of white males having intercourse with black females. This need to return to and to have intercourse with the black mother is undoubtedly the true basis for the Greek myth Oedipus Rex. It also explains why this symbolic story myth continues to have a major significance in the white supremacy system culture. The myth of Oedipus tells of Oedipus sleeping with his mother, the black female, and slaying his father, the black male. The myth of Oedipus parallels in importance the biblical myth of Adam and Eve, which in coded language depicts the origin of the first white albinos from black parents. Now remember I said in Genesis, in the book of Genesis, God says, let us make man in our image. So we know that the black man and black woman is God. Who are they talking about making? It says, at yet another level, the white male's desire to return to the black female in a sexual encounter also can be viewed as a symbolic attempt to re-enter her womb in hopes of coming out again, being born again, non-defective. In other words, the white male harbors an unconscious desire to be born again without the genetic defect of melanin pigment deficiency or albinism. It must be noted here that, quote, being born again is a major concept in the most important religion in the white supremacy system culture, Christianity. As an extension of the concept of being born again without genetic defect is to be born without sin and to rid oneself of the original sin. The original sin in white supremacy's Christianity, on close examination, is the act of sex that produced the appearance of nakedness or the genetic mutation of albinism or white skin. The concept of sin, shame, and guilt are related to the naked white body as perhaps an unconscious association was made manifest when a significant number of white males began to run about naked, fully exposed at the height of the Watergate scandal, when the evil doings of the highest ranked men in the global white supremacy system became exposed to the world. This behavioral phenomenon of white men running naked in public and hiding in shame were called streaking. It has been laughed at and discussed but never fully explained before now. It should be noted also in this context that the good book, or the Bible, and the white supremacy culture is most often itself covered in black, almost never white. But let us return from these asides to the main point of discussion, the white male as the original motherfucker and his sexual return to the black female as an expression of his unconscious desire to be reborn with black skin. You see that? So she's saying it. That white folks come from black people. We made you all. Now, if white folks are a genetic mutation, how did that happen? So you can pick up this book called The ISIS Papers, The Keys to the Colors. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Now, let's go here to, give me 1 second. So I'm trying to wake you niggas up. I'm trying to show you that you are God. You are the supreme being. And these white folks know it. So let's go here to National Geographic. National Geographic proves teachings on Mr. Yaakov. Now before we do this, let's go into this book briefly. Black Root Science. Alright? I just emailed this dude, and I'm quite sure he's going to email me back. Okay? So let's read some of this. Now, this is going to confirm what I've been saying in my other videos. If you watch them, when you watch the Forbidden Archaeology Part 1 and Part 2, and my other videos showing and proving that we are God in flesh. So, it says here, summary, right? It's in the introduction. I want you to hear this. It says, our Earth and solar system were created 78 trillion years ago. As soon as the Earth was ready, 144,000 ancestors came from another star system. The star system called Sirius or Cyrus. that was worshipped by the ancient Egyptians. Because you know the Egyptians were black folks. They inhabited the earth after preparing it by seeding it with plant and animal life. Now, what is panspermia? Panspermia means somebody's coming from another planet and bringing life here. He's confirming what I'm saying. So it says that after about 7,000 years since their arrival, their population increased from 144,000 to 1,008,000,000. The number 1,008,000,000 is the most sacred number in creation. It is the total number of the original people who inhabited the first earth of our universe, countless trillions of years ago. So we don't just go back no billions of years. We go back trillions. You can't date. That's why I keep on saying it. You cannot date niggas. You can't date us. You cannot date us. Okay? Let's keep on going. So it says here that thus every earth inhabitant thereafter keeps this number as their final and stable population. It was determined to be the ideal number of people that can inhabit a planet the size of Earth and resources, as well as on the animals and plants. So it says here, let's drop down here, and it says here that the first earth mentioned above was created by the 1,008,000,000 original gods from the stars of the previous universe. They had existed in that previous universe towards its end, along with trillions upon countless trillions of other people, in a state of mind called divine unity, or the oneness of God. It is a state of mind where all people in the universe unite as one. This one is God. This one is God and truth, not the spirit God of modern religions. Now, let's keep on going. And it says here that let's see here. I'm about to make a part 2 to this. All right. All right. So it says here that let's see here. So we come from these people, black folks. If you read this book, he explains it. He lays it all out. We come from these people. I can't speak for everybody else. So let's go here. Now check this out. This on page 10. We just still in the introduction. So if we come from these people, and it says here that let's see here. It says here that okay, so they doing all these stuff. Our ancestors is doing all these stuff coming from other star systems. We come from these people. And it says here that they established it by withdrawing from or leaving their divine unity in which they had existed, which they had existed for over 1 trillion years. They did this in order to be able to bring new life into the world, new persons who had never existed before, such as you and me. At the same time, in order to ensure the continuity of eternity, these same 1,008,000,000 original gods continue to incarnate in the new people. They reside in the unconscious part of the person's mind and are called the mind of God, or the divine gift of the ancestral, or what modern people call the spirit of God. Thus, every black person, even though he or she is born brand new, is simultaneously one of the 1,008,000,000 original gods. Only the personality is new. The spirit is old, even eternal. Now, let's go here. So it says here, our earth, this form of divine rule existed uninterpreted for 78 trillion years until 6,000 years ago, when a certain God decided it was time for all the other gods, you and me, to experience that part of us containing what is called the non-creative recessive light germ. He caused the birth of new races of people, the non-blacks, who would be the vehicles to manifest all that is in that gene. Who the hell are they talking about? All things without exception are contained in God. God will experience all that is contained in him or her. He or she knows all, but has not experienced all. They use the creation for this purpose of experiencing all that is known, including what is called evil. Hence, 6,000 years ago, a God by the name of Yahweh, called Yaakov, and other ancient scripts, was born here on our earth. He, together with about 60,000 volunteers, who are called the Elohim, made the non-blacks in our image. Wait a minute, hold up. Let's go here to the goddamn Bible. Wait a minute, what the fuck are they talking about? Genesis 1:20. So you niggas don't know what the hell is going on. You don't want to believe me. I'm trying to teach your ass that you are God in flesh. You the supreme being, god damn it. Genesis 1:26. You see the nation of Islam talking about this shit. Then God said, remember this is plural. Then the God said, let us make mankind in our image and our likeness. Mankind. Wait a minute. We are the human beings. What man? Let's go back to this woman's book. The ISIS papers. They talking about some mankind. We been for set. According to this dude's information, we have been in existence for 78 trillion years. Let's go back here. She said, I stated in the beginning of this book that whites are undoubtedly a genetic mutant albino population. They are albino mutants from the original black human beings, causing the formation of a mankind. Louis Leakey, who stated in his book by the evidence of memoirs that human life began in Africa and the first human beings were black people, were black, causing formation of a mankind. The gods, these niggas, these black folks, made every damn thing. They came from somewhere else. They came from another star system. Where they come from? The star system Sirius. Then the God said, let us make mankind in our image and our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish and the sea and the birds. So we are not just confined to this earth. We every goddamn well. We are living multiple lives on different earths, on different planets. I'm not making this shit up. Let's keep on going. So it says that. So who is this God? This saying this stuff? Then the gods. Well, one of them. There's many of them. Cause if you are a black person, you're a god. Or if you're a black female, you're a goddess. You come from these people. Ain't no goddamn spirit. It's people. It says that hence 6,000 years ago, a God by the name of Yahweh, called Yaakov and other ancient scriptures, born here on our earth. He, together with about 60,000 volunteers who are called the Elohim, made the non-blacks in our image. They made them by suppressing the dominant black gene and slowly unfolding the recessive light gene over a period of 7 generations of offspring, or 200 years. This caused the appearance of the first light race to be born to black people. After another 200 years of deliberate and careful breeding, they caused the second light race to appear out of the first. Then 200 years later, the third race appeared, and finally 66 years after the appearance of the third race, yellow race, the fourth race, Caucasians, appeared. These 60,000 people, Yahweh and Elohim, thus initiated the modern age and the process that would eventually bring our divine kingdom to a temporary end. That in brief is a sacred history leading from the first earth to our earth and to the present situational cycle called evil, which was preordained to last for 6,000 years. So this dude, his name is Modi Moncho, and he comes from a tribe called Botswana. The people's asking him on his blog post, where did you get this information from? He said he got it from his ancestors. Right? This is what they're telling him. This is what he's telling them. I finished reading this last night. I'm rereading it right now. So let's keep on going. So we're going to Genesis 1:26, right? So these gods, these black folks are making mankind in the image and likeness. And check this out. Watch what this white dude say. This dude named Bertrand Comparet. Watch what this white man say. Who are these guys that's doing this stuff? Let's see, I might be spelling his name wrong, but give me a second. I'm gonna get it. Now, watch what he said. Look at this white man. Check this white man out. All right, his name is Bertrand Comparet, right? Bertrand Comparet. And he says that Adam was not the first man. Adam was not the first man. Who was Adam? Adam is the white man. Right? It says here that many people have become agnostic because of the supported conflict between the Bible and science. In truth, there's no conflict at all between a correct translation of the Bible and really proven science, not just unproven theories. It says here that one of the supposed conflicts between the fact science knows human beings have lived on the earth far longer than the few thousand years covered by the Bible, and the common belief that the Bible records Adam was the first man. So it says, let's go to the translation. It says, the many translations in the King James Bible obscure much of the truth. Genesis 1 and 2, right? So when you read this stuff, it's saying here that Adam was the first white man. I'm not making this shit up. He's saying this stuff. This white man, Bertrand Comparet. It says, we find Adam in singular created. The Hebrew Adam refers to Adam in English, right? So it's saying here that Adam was the first white man. These white people. I'm not making this stuff up. That's because you niggas don't know who you are. Well, let's keep on going. So let's go here to National Geographic proves teaching on Mr. Yaakov. The prestigious National Geographic has reported that scientists studying DNA have now confirmed that Europeans as a people are younger than we thought. Now, this is National Geographic saying this stuff. Let me bring it up so you can see this. I'm not making this stuff up. So, when we go back to this woman's book, the ISIS papers, right? And it's saying in here that the albino mutants from the original black human beings caused the formation of a mankind and a humankind. This statement is given strong support by the work of anthropologist Louis Leakey. Now, who is Louis Leakey? Louis Leakey is the white man who goes to Africa looking at bones, calling these our black ancestors Australopithecus and all this shit. So you got Louis Leakey. You need to see him. This white man. Here's Louis Leakey. This white man, right? He was a paleoanthropologist and an archaeologist whose work was important in demonstrating that humans evolved in Africa. Okay, so here's a white man doing an excavation on fossils. Okay, so this white man said this. This white man right here. This white man, Louis Leakey, this albino, this mutant. He said in his book, quote, that human life began in Africa and that the first human beings were black. From the modern science of genetics, we know that it's possible for all pigment populations groups to produce white albino mutants. Now, let's keep on going. So it says here that using the unbiased measure of genetic science, they point to the same birth date for the Europeans as did the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Professor Alan Cooper, director of the Australian Center for Ancient DNA at the University of Adelaide, analyzed DNA from ancient skeletons and found that the genetic makeup of modern Europe was established just 6,500 years ago? Wait a minute. They've only been here for 6,000 years. This dude is saying that black folks, we've been here for we have been in existence for 78 trillion years. Can you do the math on that? Our Earth and solar system were created 78 trillion years ago. As soon as the Earth was ready, 144,000 ancestors from another star system called the star called Sirius that was worshipped by the ancient Egyptians. So our ancestors came from this star system Sirius and created and brought life here. So these people are eternal. They don't die, they're gods. And we just so happen to come from these people. Let's keep on going. So it says that Dr. Jonathan Pritchard estimates that the point in time when the genes of the Asian and European populations were altered was 6,600 years ago. The exact date that the Elijah Muhammad taught that Mr. Yaakov began his Patmos island grafting process. It is Mr. Muhammad who, in the face of much mockery and ridicule, taught that the white man first appeared 6,000 years ago on the island of Patmos or Pilan in the Aegean Sea, where they had been made by a 600-year process of selective breeding called grafting, under the command of a black scientist named Yaakov. The 59,900 blacks who came with Yaakov to the island were placed under a system of mating that was based on skin color. Same thing this document is saying, it's the same thing this dude is saying in this damn book. But he got his information from his ancestors, in Botswana. He said he's from a tribe called Botswana. My people live in different regions in southern Africa, in the countries of Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Angola, and Namibia, but mostly in South Africa and Botswana. Our language is called Setswana. The elders that I mentioned are the custodians of secret knowledge in my tribe. This type of secret dissemination of knowledge exists in many other tribes throughout Africa. It originated, or rather became secret, in ancient Egypt 6,000 years ago. Before then, it was taught openly to all black people starting to get childhood. Okay? Like here, check this out. I might make a part 2 to this. So black fruit science, is it a religion? It says black fruit science is not a religion. It is a reminder to black people who have forgotten their glorious heritage. Prior to 6,000 years ago, religions did not exist. Black people then lived a natural life. What you call earthly principles or the laws of nature were designed by the 1 billion, 8 million original people. Let's go back here to the second N-word. Let's go back to the second N-word. So you think, you niggas, I know who I am. You niggas don't know. So you got the second N-word. All this stuff is tying in together. And you niggas still won't believe me. It's all good. So you got the second N-word. Niggas. You can't date niggas. So it says here that the meaning of the word nigger, in, from, or belonging to, first, in, from, or belonging to, G equals first or beginning, R equals raw, the source, God. So NGR means from or belonging to the source, the original first people. Who the hell are they talking about? The original first people. Who the hell are they talking about? Let's go back here. What you call earthly principles or laws of nature were designed by the 1 billion, 8 million original people, niggas. They are the laws that govern existence in the universe. Black people as gods are not subject to the laws of nature. They are the creators of the laws of nature. All other creatures and beings created by black people, including the light-skinned races, are subject to the laws. We made ourselves subject to these laws only now in this 6,000-year cycle in order to experience what is caused by self-forgetfulness. By self-forgetfulness, we have forgotten. They're forgotten. I'm trying to wake you niggas up. You God. Let's go back to the document. So it says here that, okay. So it said that 60,000 blacks who came with Yaakov to the island were placed on a system of mating that was based on skin color, in which only lighter complexion babies were allowed to survive. Over the course of many generations, the population of Patmos grew to grow lighter and lighter until, after 600 years, the people became very pale with blue eyes and blonde hair. From these islands-based tribe of white-skinned albinos came a behaviorally aggressive race of rulers, namely the Caucasians, who then spread into every corner of the world and who now represent 9% of the world population, 1 in every 11 human beings. This teaching of the birth of the white race has been the central belief of the Nation of Islam and has been met with hostility and profound resistance by its critics, who have most commonly termed it hate teaching. Elijah Muhammad referred to the Caucasian as, quote, the new man who came from us, but he is different from us. But that new man teaching contradicts a hypothesis that modern humans emerged in Europe 40,000 to 50,000 years ago. It has created a theological scheme that has resulted in an impasse in interreligious understanding. But it is a theological impasse that secular scientists have now stepped into to overcome the controversy. Professor Cooper, pinpointing this particular birthday of 6,500 years, have generated deeper questions about genetic processes leading up to this date. Dr. Cooper said, quote, the genetics show that something around that point caused the genetic signatures of previous populations to disappear. However, we do not know what happened or why. But over 80 years ago, Elijah Muhammad both pinpointed the date and detailed the process by which it occurred. So somebody was splicing. One of these guys was a scientist, and he was doing genetic experiments. Let's keep on going. This latest study by Professor Cooper fine-tunes and fortifies other recent research. Dr. Keith Ching, a geneticist of Pennsylvania State University of Medicine, led a study that shows the evolution of a gene for skin color and suggests that Europeans lightened up quite recently, perhaps only 6,000 to 12,000 years ago. Dr. Hans Einberg of the University of Copenhagen confirmed that all blue-eyed humans have a genetic mutation that he says occurred 6 to 10,000 years ago. So you white folks have only been here for 6,000 years. Black folks, niggas, have been in existence for 78 trillion years. His team found a specific gene known as the OCA2 gene, which, if you alter, would result in human beings without melanin in their hair, eyes, or skin color, a condition known as albinism or albinism. Thus, this OCA2 gene seems to have been targeted and manipulated by some force or event around 6,000 plus years ago. So somebody was messing around with genes. Somebody was messing around with genetics. Who was doing that? Black folks. Researchers at the University of Chicago had found where genes appear to have been reshaped by natural selection within the last 5,000 to 15,000 years. Incredibly, Dr. Jonathan Pritchard estimates that the point in time when the genes of the Asians and European population were altered was 6,600 years ago, the exact date the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that Mr. Yaqub began his Patmos island grafting process. The scientists say that, quote, the selected genes, which affect skin color, hair, texture, and bone structure, may underlie the present-day differences in racial appearance. But who selected them, and why is it left for speculation? These scientists, Cooper, Einberg, Ching, and Pritchard, have scientifically zeroed in on a date and time that corresponds theologically to the teaching of the Nation of Islam. But the scientists are yet unable to account for the reason for this dramatic genetic convulsion in the human family. Professor Cooper said, quote, this population moves in around 4,000 to 5,000 BC, but where it came from remains a mystery, as we can't see anything like it in the area surrounding Europe. Farrakhan spoke about the Messiah's controversial teaching. Yaqub was a scientist who saw in the genetic makeup of the black man that he could bring out of us a new people, the opposite of the original. That is not evil. That is high science. And it is this high science of racial grafting that has been repeated many times by many times since Yaqub's first experiment on Patmos. The lengthy history of European colonization was examined in 2012. Final Call article echoes of Mr. Yaqub at the Patmos, which shows how whites repeatedly use islands as laboratories to alter the racial features of the people of Africa, the Caribbean, and South America, creating mulatto subraces that were used to rule over the African Indian slaves. In other words, whites never mocked Yaqub's high science. They repeatedly and successfully followed it to a T. In fact, there are many echoes of Yaqub's work that have been chronicled by other histories, religions, and folklores, including Judaism. The ancient rabbis used the biblical account of Jacob's grafted flock of sheep and goats to bear witness to the teaching of Mr. Muhammad. Genesis 30 and 35 says that Jacob, or in Hebrew and Arabic, Yaqub, was able to produce unusually colored livestock through the use of a skillful breeding technique. Significantly, it took Jacob 6 years to successfully change the color of the flock. The book of the Jewish traditions called the Midrash Rabbah actually uses this Bible story to explain the birth of white children to black parents, which they see as a totally positive effect, just like Yaakov. Significantly, these Caucasian rabbis, who always present themselves in their writings as superiors to blacks, use this apocryphal passage to unwittingly explain their own racial origin in terms of the breeding process. And with the assistance of Lawrence Guthrie's powerful little book, The Making of the White Man, we are led to other more recent testimonials. The Baptist theologian Bernard L. Ram explained, quote, by scientific breeding, we can shuffle these genes with their characteristics and breed traits breed traits in or breed them out. The laws of hereditary plus principles of separational selection operating over a period of time will produce the various races of the world. Religious leaders are not the only ones alluding to a recently created man. Scientists have also grappled with what they saw as the unusual appearance of this odd human anomaly, the white man. The Dutch autonomous Ludwig Louis Volk wrote an origin of racial characteristics of man, quote, white skin started from an ancestor with black skin, and whose offspring, hair, and iris color were suppressive more and more. This white man right here, this white man, he just said he's he deals with anatomy, right? With bones, right? And he said that white skin started from an ancestor with black skin. What this dude just say? Louis Leakey. Louis Leakey said, human life began in Africa. Right? The first human beings were black. So I'm gonna come back and make a part 2 to this. So stay tuned. This is part 1. I'm trying to show you niggas that you are God in flesh. You the supreme being. You just don't know it. Because you've been tricked to believe in one damn book and not question life. Why can't you understand that? Why can't you believe that? That you are God in flesh. You are the supreme being. All black people, niggas, are God and goddesses in flesh. Get this book right here, Black Root Science. And then go back and watch my videos on Forbidden Archaeology Part 1 and Part 2. The black man and black woman is God. Everything I'm saying, they're confirming what I'm bringing out. I didn't come up with this. I didn't come up with this information. I'm just reading it and putting the pieces together. Because I know what question to ask and how to ask them and how to solve these puzzles. So I'm showing improvement to you with different sources. Not just one book, different sources. You are God in flesh. You're the supreme being. Not just one black person, supreme being, it's all of us. So I'm about to come back and make a part 2 to this. This is part 1. So I can finish reading this article off. We're going to go into more in this book. Peace.